Welcome back to episode 52 of the Valley Sports Talk podcast. Um, on today's episode, it's going to be a bit of a short one because me and Brandon are on a bit of a time crunch. Um, so today we are going to be talking a bit about some big trades or big trade rumors that are going down. One trade that went through. We're going to talk a bit about the NBA draft, and then I think we're going to talk a bit about NBA free agency. But first, I want to go into some heartbreaking news that Max and BFish have both decided to no longer be on the Valley Sports Talk podcast, which is completely fine. No hate towards them at all. But they just didn't have time to do it. So it is down to two. It is down to me and Brandon. And speaking of that, Brandon, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And yeah, we are definitely out of time. We gotta go to baseball. We'll get into as much sports as we can in this little period. We got the draft tonight, which is exciting. No
Very.
big pick of our favorite teams, but we'll see
No,
how she
no.
goes.
Um, so like Brand said, today is the NHL draft. There's already been one sort of big trade that has moved picks around. Literally about an hour ago, the Chicago Blackhawks sent Alex DeBrincat to Ottawa for the seventh overall pick, the 34th overall pick, and a 2024 third round pick from Ottawa. It's a pretty big trade as there was rumblings earlier that Buffalo was going to take on Matt Murray's contract and Ottawa was going to move down to 16 and 7, and Matt Murray waived his no trade clause to go to not want to go to Buffalo, which makes sense. And then all of a sudden, about 2 hours later, Ottawa pulls through with this DeBrincat trade. What are your sort of thoughts on the trade, Brandon?
I mean, I've heard DeBrincat's name going around for a while, but I'm really confused because like I love the trade for Ottawa. I think he's a young player. He's really good at putting the puck in the net, and Ottawa struggles with. So I think it's a really good deal for Ottawa. Um, in terms of uh, Chicago, I mean, they're getting the picks to do another rebuild, I guess. But if you're rebuilding, would you not want DeBrincat to be at the center of your rebuild? Not like I'm confused by it. Well, I mean, I think Chicago might be trying to move Taves and Kane as well. But if you're trying to rebuild with all these picks you're getting, I thought you'd want DeBrincat to be your main guy.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused about it too. For like last year, trading for Seth Jones sort of seemed like they wanted to be competitive again, but it didn't happen last year. And then I even saw today that Seth Jones' name was being shopped around right after they gave him an 8-year contract worth over 9 mil. So that one was kind of confusing. But to me, if I'm Ottawa, I love this deal. Number 7, this prospect probably wouldn't be fully developed for another 3 years, and I think Ottawa's just at that time where they're rebuild. They got to start getting to the end of their rebuild. They've gotten all these draft picks. They have good players. They still have players that are going to be even ready this year or the year after. And getting a guy to Brinkett who 2 years ago was a 40 goal scorer, and was very close to putting up 50 goals, and you signed for 2 more years. I think that one, it puts people in seats, and two, it wins you more games. Like a player like DeBrincat will steal multiple games for you this season. Let alone you have players like Tkachuk, Stutzel, Batherson, Norris. You have names. You got Shabbat. Um, Ottawa has names. It's starting us being Ottawa being the closest team to me and Brandon, like distance wise. It's kind of exciting because now we can actually like book tickets to watch the Ottawa. Not that any of us are Ottawa fans, but we can book them to watch uh, our favorite teams play, and it might actually be a competitive game. Or like, I'm not just going to watch sort of Pittsburgh play if they were playing Ottawa. I'm going to watch, Tkachuk play. I'm going to watch DeBrincat play because I've actually never seen Alex DeBrincat play live before. So like, to me, it's just sort of is a step in the right direction for Ottawa, and I really like the trade. Um,
The
I'm not
Atlantic
sure. Was there
Division
any other?
stack. The Atlantic
Yes.
Division stack. Couple more things I just want to name quickly. Mike Greer was named San Jose Sharks general manager, first
Yes.
black general
Congratulations.
manager, I believe. It's about
Yep.
time the NHL stepped up. I was watching like a podcast about it, and out of the professional sports, the NHL is the last team to have a black general manager. That's pretty cool. Um, his dad, I believe, played in the NFL. His brother is the general manager of the Miami Dolphins. So,
Yes,
like
that
we
is
said, the
correct.
Sharks Sharks wanted to go with a new and they did that, but even though they did that, a lot of experience in the family, so I think he'll do fine. Another move which isn't that big, but it has big implication. Actually, it's not a trade. Sorry, it was a signing. It was a trade. Gorgiev to the Avalanche. In and
Yes.
itself, it's
So
not massive because it's just Gorgiev for 2/3 and a fifth, but that definitely means that Darcy Kemper's gone.
yeah,
So what
I
do you
heard
think
that
about that?
Darcy Kemper will not be returning. Honestly, if I'm Colorado, I actually don't mind this trade. You knew you weren't gonna be able to pay pay Kemper, and Georgiev didn't really have a chance to show what he had. I mean, he wasn't very good this year, but whenever you're playing behind a guy like Igor Shesterkin, you're not going to get very much games. Even whenever he went in, whenever Igor got pulled in the 2 games in the Pittsburgh series, Georgiev came in. He wasn't awful. Um, he's still young, and I think with a team like the Avalanche, with the team in front of them, I think it's sort of it's a good decent fit. Like we saw it with Kemper. Kemper wasn't coming off the greatest season last year with the Devil or with the Yotes, and even Francouz. Like if you have a 1-2 combo or a 1A 1B combo of Francouz and Georgiev, I think that you'll still win games with that Avalanche team in front of them. Um, Possible fits for Darcy Kemper, obviously the first two I think of right automatically is Toronto and the Oilers. They're both two teams that need goalies. I could see the Oilers sort of being able to afford Kemper more than Toronto unless Toronto moves a contract. Another name I heard was the New Jersey Devil because Mackenzie Blackwood might not be sort of working out there. And the Devils are sort of ready to compete. But that's a pretty, I won't say elite, I'll say star goalie now that's open on the market that we know will not be being re-signed.
Yeah, I think it's big too. Another team to watch out for that I've been hearing a lot of is actually the Washington Capitals. So we'll see. I think Kemper is going to be one of the most paid goalies in this free agency class, but I don't mind, like you were saying, I don't mind the Gorgiev Francouz 1A 1B sort of tandem when you got the team you do in front of you. So we'll see how that works out. But that's kind of like trades and stuff. I don't know what you want to go to next. Do you want to stick with
Well, we
hockey?
haven't talked about the reason why my day was so good today.
Let's hear it.
The Pittsburgh Penguins were able to bring back their longest tenured defenseman, Chris Letang, to a 6-year, $6.1 million deal, which pays him till he is 41. At first, I was like, okay, why are we paying? Why are we paying Chris Letang till he's 41? I mean, not that he didn't deserve, not that I don't think he can't play at a decent level till he's 41. But the thing that I really like about it is that it's the same with like the Brian Russ deal. You know, he didn't see what he can be on free agent. He was loyal to the team. I think that he could have easily gotten probably 8.5 from a team in the free agency market. Easily.
Oh, easy.
With the year he
For
had
sure.
this year, I think a team easily would have given him like 8.5 for 3 years. So the fact that Pittsburgh was able to get him for 6.1, whenever your window is slowly getting smaller with Crosby and Letang getting older, still no Gene Malkin signing, but just the fact that they still have 15 mil right now, and they still, I think, have the ability to sort of shed some cap by moving some players, maybe even tonight. I'm kind of excited that Pittsburgh will be able to probably compete for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, we were texting about this a little before the podcast, and you sort of made a good point in that he could have made a lot more money elsewhere for less term. So I think people, right off the bat, they might say paying him for that long is a bad thing, but really, like, you can never predict in the future. But if you had to, you'd probably say in the next in like 5 seasons, Pittsburgh probably won't be where they are right now. So it won't really matter that they're paying a guy like Chris Letang 6 mil at 41 because they probably won't be very good. So for now, it's really good because it keeps their window open, like you said, and down the line, if they're not good, who cares if they're paying someone a lot of money, right? So
Mm-hmm,
it's
for
definitely
sure.
bring a guy like that back.
So I think we'll go into a bit of NHL draft. If you guys didn't see our post today, me and Brandon sort of did a top 5 mock of who we think will be the top 5 picks. I'll throw a spoiler out right now. I'm not the biggest draft analyst. I could probably give you a first round mock, and that's about it. I don't know anybody else past the first round. Like I probably know the top 30. That's probably I don't want to assume, but that's probably a couple more than Brandon probably knows. If I
Oh yeah, I'm not very good with it at
Yeah.
all.
So I'd probably be able to give you a first round mock. But we just left it to the five. So I think we'll go through our five right now if you didn't see it on our Instagram, and we'll sort of give our reasons why we think that that player will go there. Or if you don't have a reason and you just sort of like the fit, you can just say that. But we'll go through yours first. At number one, you have I'm gonna butcher your name. You have Jureg Slavkovsky.
Good job. I mean,
Um,
I think he's just what the Montreal Canadiens need. Like they've got pretty good center depth in Suzuki and Caulfield, and I just think a nice big winger like that can't hurt for sure.
for
He's
sure.
got a little bit.
Number what?
Sorry, he's got a little bit of speed to him as well.
Yeah, yes. For points perspective, he had 10 points in 33 games playing in the Czech league. Um, Number two, second overall to the Devils, you have Shane Wright.
Yeah, I got Shane Wright. I there's a lot of talk that he is dropping a lot, but I mean the talent's there. The thing you got to remember is he didn't get to play. He missed a year in the OHL because of COVID, so he's 1 year behind in his development. So he's still putting up a lot of good points. The thing I did hear, which is kind of concerning, is that his interviews didn't go very well with teams. But I think he's such a talent; it's going to be hard to pass up on.
His stat line this year was 94 points in 63 games, 32 and 62. Number three, you had Cutter Goche.
Yeah, I think he'd be good in Arizona. He's tall, he's pretty heavy. He shoots left. And he's in the, if I'm not mistaken, he's in the U.S. development camp.
Yeah, he is, but he was actually
Uh-huh.
born in Sweden.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
But no, he seems like a big boy, um, talented player, and Arizona definitely needs some of them to bring some players into the into the stands, some fans in the
Yeah.
stands.
Yep. By in all these rankings here, he's anywhere from 18 to 3 is the highest.
Yeah, well, it's so hard to predict because he's such like a big boy, right?
Yeah, yeah. This year, he actually played in the what the hell did he play? He played in the US U18 national team. He had 65 and 54. He had more goals than assists, so he might be more of a goal scorer than a big shot guy.
Yeah, I think he's
He's
going
a
to be a
big boy.
grinder for sure. Get in front
Yeah.
of the
Number
net.
four, you had Logan Cooley.
Going the complete opposite direction. This guy's pretty small and pretty light. He's a quick guy. He also played for the developmental team, 36 points in 24 games. He seems like a pretty complete all-around player, like 13 goals, 23 assists. He's pretty like not even, but he's not one way heavy. And I mean, you put a 55 penalty minute, so he does like to scrap it up a little bit, which is pretty cool to see for a small guy. So, for a guy like Seattle, just another guy you can start your franchise around. It's their first pick ever in a draft, and I think
No,
this would be a good
second.
way. Is it?
They took Matty Beniers second overall last year.
Right. Sorry, my bad.
Um,
But this will be
yeah,
good.
Logan Cooley after Slavkovsky is probably my favorite prospect in this draft. I'm just a big fan of what he does. And it doesn't help that he was born in Pittsburgh, so I might be a bit biased there.
Oh.
Fifth overall, you have to the Philadelphia Flyers. You have Marco Casper.
Yeah, I wanted to go. I mean, this isn't off the board, but he's not in a lot of people's top fives. I don't think. He's from Austria, which I think is pretty cool. Another pretty tall and big boy. He's 6'2". He's only 190 pounds, so he's not terribly massive, but a good centerman for Philadelphia, a good young centerman. Um, he was playing in the World Juniors. He didn't score any points because he's playing for Austria, but from what I can remember, even though it got canceled, he looked pretty good out there, and we'll see him again in August. So looking forward to seeing him in August.
Yeah. Honestly, yours is pretty close to mine. You probably have my tops. I think I had on my big board. I had Casper at 7. Um, so but it's the NHL draft. People can like one guy more than the other. I'll go through mine first. First overall, I also have Juraj Slafkovsky going to Montreal. I think a first line for the future of Caulfield on the right, Suzuki up the middle, and Slafkovsky on the left is just it's great. I was really tempted to put Shane Wright here because I wanted to go with the Canadian at 1. But I went for Montreal's needs, and I think what you said about how Shane Wright has not interviewed very well with teams, I think that's going to be massive on his positioning in this draft. I think that teams know that these guys are really good players, but if they don't interview well, then they're not very professional. Well, I think that really takes a lot on their pick. Number 2, I have Logan Cooley. I said he's my second favorite prospect behind Slafkovsky. I've seen lots of tape on this guy. I just love his style of play, the way he moves the puck, the way he shoots, and he does, like you said, he plays physical, which I really like that. Number 3, I have a defenseman, Simon Nemec. In my opinion, this is more of a fit. I think by tonight, Jacob Chikrin will be on a different team, so this is my Jacob Chikrin sort of replacement for Arizona. Brings them in a new left-handed defenseman to replace Chikrin. Sliding all the way to number 4, I have Shane Wright. Um, like I said, he could easily go 1. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 1, or even 2 or 3. I just think that Seattle will be there and he'll be sitting there in their lap, and Seattle just lick him up, just thinking like, oh my God, how did this guy fall to me? And number 5, Cutter Gauthier. Cutter Gauthier just sort of looks like a Philadelphia Flyer player. He's a big boy, and the Philadelphia Flyers have been known to draft some big guys. You got Voracek. You got guys like going back. You got Scotty Hartnell. You got guys like that. They love their big power forwards. They have one in James VR right now. Cutter Gauthier just looks like a Philadelphia Flyer, so I have him going 5.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're not draft analysts. I could probably give you a top first round mock draft, but those are our top 5. I think Brandon will go into some NBA quickly. Like we said, this
I
will
just
be a
want
bit of a shorter episode.
Yeah, we'll go. I just want to do quick. Just quick. I'm going to name like the top like 10 free agents, and you just say like staying or leaving. Okay.
For what sport?
NHL.
Okay.
Just so we can get off NHL. Johnny Gaudreau.
I think he'll end up staying with Calgary.
I think he's going to stay as well. If we stay with Calgary, what do you think about Matthew Tkachuk?
I don't think I think Calgary would be stupid to. I've seen I actually saw his name coming up a bit today. That people are going to offer sheet him. I wouldn't be shocked if a team does throw an offer sheet at him though. But if I'm Calgary, I'm signing the offer sheet.
I've heard a lot of things. He's gone. I don't. I'm going to say gone. I don't think he's staying. I don't know if Calgary's got the money to keep him, and he's going to demand a lot of money. That's for sure. Another
He'll go to
guy who
Ottawa.
might not
That'd be sweet.
That'd be crazy. Another guy who might not make free agency, but definitely a big name is Philip Forsberg.
I think he's gonna leave. I don't know where he goes, but I think that they've been going on contract extensions all year, and the fact that it still hasn't been done to yet doesn't really give me much hope that they'll be able to sort of get term and money done. So I think he's gone.
I don't know. I think leaving is probably the better guess, but just he seems like a lifer to me, so I'm going to say staying. Nazem Kadri, I think everyone knows he's going. The word I've been hearing is he could make anywhere between $8.5 million to $10 million in his new contract. So instead of guessing staying or leaving, give me a quick team.
Team, honestly, I think Seattle picks him up. They have the money. They want to make a big splash. And I think that Kadri winning his cup now, I think he'll just go for the money. And I think whatever team gives him the most money is where he's going to go.
Yeah, another team that could give him money, and I think he might go to is the Devils. The Devils is another spot that's got lots of money. John Klingberg.
That's a tough one. I
I
think he'll
know.
stay. I think the fact that he didn't, or that he sent a trade request at the middle of last season, then all of a sudden he rescinded it. I think that shows that he wants to be in Dallas, and I think he'll resign.
Give me a team for Evander Kane.
That's a really tough one because I actually don't know what the market is for him.
I
I could
know.
see, I could see, honestly, I could see Montreal being in on him. He seems like a Montreal type player. I could see him going back to the Oilers.
I have
I don't.
nothing for Evander Kane. Like I got no idea. This man's such a wild card.
He really is.
Andrew Copp.
I think he'll be back with the Rangers. They talked about wanting to bring him back right whenever they trade for him. And I think like I just said with the Cutter Goche, I think he's sort of a Rangers player. He's a gritty guy that can score, that can put the puck in the net, and that's exactly what the Rangers game style is. So I think he's back with the Rangers.
I agree. Okay, we got three more. Evgeny Malkin.
The fact that the Pens were able to sign Chris Letang to 6.1, I think there's sort of an underlying story in that. So I think he'll still be back with Pittsburgh. And I think he even signs for probably less than what Letang got.
I've got a weird feeling you and me both want Malkin to be the first to be signed, and the fact that he isn't is giving me second thought. I'm gonna say leaving just to be different.
Hmm.
Um, two more. Jack Campbell.
I say he's gone. I say if the Oilers don't get Kemper, they throw a lot of money at Campbell.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good guess. I'm gonna just keep throwing out New Jersey. New Jersey's got so much money, and for some reason it seems like they want to spend it. So I'm gonna go New Jersey there, and then very last player, we will go Claude Giroux.
I want to say Ottawa, but the Brinkett trade doesn't really make it as possible. I could also, again, I could see him going to Montreal. I could see him going sort of back to where he was born, even though he grew up closer to Ottawa. But I want to say he'll stay in Florida.
Yeah, I've heard too much of Ottawa to get away from that even after the trade. So I'll stay Ottawa. I think that
Very
wraps
cool.
up our NHL.
Perfect. We'll move in to our second sport. I think next week we'll talk about the NFL. Start talking about the NFL. We'll go into some sort of um, pre-season predictions about that. Maybe some hot takes. Do our preseason awards predictions. But first, in between when we were finished recording the last episode and this one, a pretty massive player sent out a trade request in the name of Kevin Durant. I don't know if you've heard of him before,
Vaguely, I think he
but
played on Golden State or something.
something like that. But yes, Kevin Durant has sent a trade request to the Brooklyn Nets, which kind of shocked the league. It was like a day after Kyrie sent a trade request and opted into his player option. So it's a lot of sort of weird things going on in Brooklyn. But I'm going to give you the three main teams that I think have a chance at getting Kevin Durant. And I'm going to give you the package. And I want you to rank the package from best offer to worst offer. Okay.
Yep.
So the three teams that I have that I think are most likely to sign, actually, I'll do four. I just thought of a fourth. So the four teams that I think are most likely to land Kevin Durant, um, three of them are Eastern Conference teams. One of them's the West. We have the Toronto Raptors. We have the Boston Celtics. We have the Miami Heat and the Phoenix Suns. In my opinion, the offer from the Toronto Raptors would be OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., um, Danilo Banton, and 4 first-round picks. Okay, you gonna remember that?
Yep. Yeah.
From the Boston Celtics, I have Peyton Pritchard, Jaylen Brown, and 4 first-round picks. From the
Yep.
Miami Heat, I have Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, which they just drafted at 27 this year, and 4 first-round picks. And from the Phoenix Suns, I have DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and only 2 first-round picks going back.
Sorry, did you say Aiden? DeAndre Ayton?
Yep, DeAndre Ayton in a sign and trade.
Okay, so if I were to rank those, I would say my least enticing if I'm the Brooklyn Nets is definitely the Miami one. Um, I just feel like it's not enough. Like Duncan Robinson had a very big had a very terrible year. Tyler Hero is definitely a big piece, but he hasn't proven himself in a starting role. And then like you said, Jovic is 27. I mean, he looked good in his first summer league game,
He did look very good.
but other than that, yeah, I mean, that's my least favorite for sure. Next would be the Toronto Raptors deal. I think if Kevin Durant were to get traded to the Raptors, um, there would have Fred, Pascal, or Scotty in that deal. I just don't think the Nets would do it if one of them three isn't in it. I think you uh, put in one of them players and you take out one or two of the first round draft picks. And I think the Nets might be more interested. And then my next one is the Suns, just because I don't see. I mean, I guess Simmons and Aiden could work, but we haven't seen Simmons yet. You never know what's going on with Kyrie and Aiden being your number one option. If both those two don't work out, it's kind of scary. And then my favorite one is Jaylen Brown, just because Jaylen Brown's such a good player. Um, I mean, I like to trade both ways. Like if Kevin Durant's on the team instead of Jaylen Brown, they probably win the championship. That's just my opinion. The Celtics, that is. And then all the first round picks, obviously, they're in every deal. But so I like the Celtics one the best. If I'm gonna predict, I'm gonna be boring, and I think Kevin Durant's not gonna get traded.
Huh. Very interesting. We can also sort of talk about did we talk about the Rudy Gobert trade? Did that happen before last episode?
I don't know. I don't know if we talked about it or not. Hmm.
Because we can go into that. We can also talk about Kyrie. I've heard a lot of LA Lakers. I've heard that. I've also heard that the Spurs are possibly going to take on the Russell Westbrook money to be able to send Kyrie to the Lakers. It's just a weird sort of time. Like the summer league just started. Chet Holmgren looks like the next KD for OKC. Speaking of
He looks really
KD, he looks very good. And I want to throw something else out there. I was watching the game yesterday. They were playing the Jazz. No, they were playing the Grizzlies.
They were playing the Jazz, were they not?
No, the Jazz were playing the 76ers.
Oh, okay.
Um, Josh Giddey, he is such an underrated player in my opinion. He's the
Yeah,
fact that
100%.
I was like, why is Josh Giddey playing in summer league? You know, he was a rookie last year. Then I look, he's only 19 years old still.
It's
Like
crazy, eh?
he's my age, and he's out there
That's what
putting up
I was
triple
saying
doubles.
last week. This Thunder team is going to be so exciting to watch with Giddy, Chet, Shea, Pokashevsky.
Dort,
He's only 20
Lou
or
Dort.
19. Lou Dort. They got six players under the age of like 22,
It's
and they're all
it's
decent.
nuts. It's just the NBA is in a really weird state right now because, you know, we had the awards, we had the draft, summer league's just starting, people are getting trades, free agency is just ending. It's sort of, I don't know, the NBA is just in a weird spot right now, and it's kind of in a dead zone, and then all of a sudden Kevin Durant requests a trade. But I don't know. I don't know about you.
Getting back to that, the Nets were so disappointing in like the 3 years they've been together. I want you to guess. I have the number. How many games have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving played together?
32
They've played 44 games together
in three
in
years.
3 years. That's ridiculous. Like, Jesus.
And
Yeah, but that's
the fact that they had James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant only won one playoff series in that time span is pretty disappointing.
yeah, you're not wrong. It's crazy. And then, I mean, just another quick trade that we didn't talk about is the Boston Celtics getting even better. Not really
Oh
trading
yes,
anything
the Malcolm
useful for
Brogdon.
Malcolm Brogdon. So what does
I also
Marcus
heard
Smart?
that the Celtics are planning on using him as a six man.
He's the sixth, not Marcus Smart. Either way, they
I
threw
heard that
in
Marcus Smart would still start.
either way, they're throwing players that didn't play any minutes in the playoffs for Malcolm Brogdon, who's going to be a really good six man. So they're definitely going to be one of the favorites again next year.
Yes, for sure. Depending on if they do indeed land KD or not, it'll be pretty interesting to see.
Another sport that I wanted to quickly talk about, massive trade in the NFL. We had
Oh,
the
massive.
the Cleveland Browns trading Baker Mayfield to the Carolina Panthers for a conditional fifth. I think if he plays a certain percentage of the games this season, it goes to fourth.
Ooh. My
Honestly,
first
though,
reaction to this is
as joke as it is, it's kind of a dub for Carolina.
I honestly don't mind it for Carolina. I'm pretty lost for what the Browns are doing. Um, I honestly don't know who the Browns quarterback is going to be this year, considering Deshaun Watson might be suspended for the whole season.
Hold on, I forgot his
It
name. I got it. I'm gonna get it for the starting
Case Keenum?
quarterback. No, what's his freaking name? It's terrible. Anyways, keep going. I'll figure it out. Okay.
Exactly. That's all we need to know is that he's terrible. But I don't know. This Browns team is really confusing because they gave Deshaun Watson so much money. He might be suspended for all of this season and maybe even more. And then they have such a bad relationship with Baker Mayfield that all they can get from him is a fifth. This guy was a former first overall pick. He maybe should have went in the round that he just got traded for, which is the fifth round. The way
Hello? I can't hear your voice for some
yes,
reason.
who's back?
Oh, I'm back. It's like I never left.
I think my mic was off that whole time while I was talking.
It was because I couldn't hear you at all.
That's
Um,
awkward.
it is awkward. The thing I did want to say though is we do hate on Baker Mayfield a lot, and I'm not defending him in any way, shape, or form because I personally am not very high on him. But I was listening to a podcast today, and before he hurt his shoulder in his career, he was 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And then since his shoulder, he was 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So, I mean, as much as we hate on him, he was drafted one for a reason. Like the talent's there. He's just got to figure it out. He's had a new offensive coordinator every year he's been in the league. Um, so that probably doesn't help. And then this Cleveland Browns organization was a joke for the longest time. So, like I said, that sounds like I'm trying to defend Baker Mayfield. I'm definitely not high on him, but he still has a chance to be a good quarterback, like decent, anyways. Um, A cool thing I did want to share, it's a cool stat. It's the first time in NFL history, the first two quarterbacks drafted in a year are on the same team.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I couldn't remember if Sam Darnold went one or went two or three to
He went three, but
oh,
it
did he go
wasn't a
three?
yeah, but it wasn't a quarterback taken second.
Yeah, it was Saquon.
Yeah, so the first two quarterbacks in the draft is the first time they've been on the same team.
Interesting. Who I was saying this while you were gone. I don't know who wins that quarterback competition coming
I
out of
think it's
camp.
got to be Baker. It's got to be.
I
There's
feel
so
like it
much
has to be
more,
too.
so much more potential there. I mean, I
It's
guess
so
we'll see.
it's so yeah. I don't
I
know.
mean, there's not
I
much
guess
you can say, but
sorry.
there's not much more you can say about it. We'll see how it goes. I did want to quickly run by you while we have like 5 minutes left in this podcast before we got to run. Um, just because it's about 60 days till the NFL season, it's starting to get interesting. Um, and which means our fantasy league kicks back up soon. Um,
Time to be
so
stressed every Sunday.
yeah, time to be stressed. So I did want to quickly
I
run
sent you a
through the
trade the
start.
other day and you didn't even go open it. I sent you a trade yesterday and I don't think you noticed it. So I just
Probably not.
withdrew it.
That sucks. I would have looked at it. So I quickly, fantasy wise, I'm going to give you the starting quarterback for every team. So you basically got like 32 names. In fantasy wise, there's 10 players in our fantasy league. So you got 10 quarterback ones, 10 quarterback twos, and then 10 bench. Okay, so try and stick it within that range. So I'll name you a quarterback, and you just tell me QB1, QB2, or bench in
Yep,
fantasy wise.
yep, fantasy was.
Okay. Kyler Murray.
QB1.
I think he's a low QB1.
Yep, low QB1.
I think he'll be in that low QB1, high QB2 range. Next, we got big bad Marcus Mariota.
I think on this Falcons team, I think he'll honestly be a QB2. I think he'll be a serviceable guy that you can sometimes slot in as a QB2. Especially with the fact that he can scramble. I think he's a low QB2.
Yeah, it's really going to depend on that. It's if they get to the goal line, will he be the one running it in? If so, he could be a lowest of the low QB2s. If not, I think he's a bench that you could feel decently confident putting in when one of your starters is on a bye. Lamar Jackson.
Low QB1 easily.
I think he's going to have a massive year this year. Josh Allen.
QB1. High
Easy
QB1.
QB. Yeah. Baker Mayfield.
If he starts low QB2, if he doesn't, he's a bench.
Yeah, I'm just going off projected starters, so I think he'll be QB2 as well. Justin Fields.
I honestly think he's going to be a high QB1. I think with the talent that the Eagles put around him, I think he's going to have a big season this year.
I don't think you heard me right. I'm talking about Bears quarterback Justin Fields.
I was thinking of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I know. As soon as you said Eagles, I was like, wrong player, wrong
Damn,
player. When you
that's
said low
embarrassing.
QB1, I was like, okay.
I think Justin Fields, if his O line is good and if he can sort of figure it out, I think he's a low QB2.
Yeah, I'm gonna say even though I have him on my fantasy team, I think he's gonna be a bench this year. They just don't have many options.
That's
I think
fair.
he's got the potential, but we'll see. Joe Burrow.
QB1, baby. Joe Burrow, that's my guy.
He's definitely going to be a QB1 this year. So
One
I
of my
did look
fantasy
into it.
QBs.
It is Chase Keenum, and I'm going off projected starters, and they say for the start of the season it's going to be Chase Keenum.
Bench.
Definitely bench. Dak.
I think Dak was a QB1. He was putting up monster numbers last year, until he got hurt.
Yeah, the problem is there's only 10 spots. So I'm going to say like he's going to be like number 11. I'm going to say
Yeah, that's
first
fair.
QB. Russell Wilson.
I think he'll be a low QB1, high QB2 with this
Yeah,
in that new Broncos offense.
yeah, I see him and Dak sort of in the same style because the Broncos do get a good running game, so that will take away from some of his fantasy value.
Yes.
Big bad Jared Goff.
Jared Goff's gonna be a low QB2 for me. Close to a
Yeah, maybe
bench. Like a
maybe
high bench, low QB2.
I think it really depends on again how Swift.
Maybe your friggin' your fantasy hero, what's his name there?
Amon-Ra St.
Amon
Brown.
St. Brown will turn him up.
They did have good chemistry, and then you have T.J. Hawkinson back, who was out for injury
Yeah.
last year. Aaron Rodgers.
I think I honestly think he's a high QB2 this year after losing Devontae. I don't think he'll be as good as he usually is.
I think he's an easy QB2 this year. Like nobody, his best passing person is Alan Lazard and Rand Cobb. So
Sammy Watkins, man, don't hate on him.
Sammy Watkins. Davis Mills.
He had his flashes last year, but I'm gonna give him a high bench to low QB2.
Yeah, I think he's still bench.
Okay,
He's
that's fair.
trying. Um, this could sound super bad. Who's the Colts quarterback?
Matt Ryan. Matty
Matt
Ice,
Ryan.
baby.
Oh my God, that's so
Matty
bad.
Ice.
It didn't have the trade on here, and I totally forgot about Matty Ice. That's
Matty
right.
Ice, I think Matty Ice is a low QB2.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
Matty Ice is in that 15-16 range, which
yeah,
is
around there.
Trevor Lawrence. Interesting.
This is an interesting one. Last year he was probably a bench. I'm gonna give him a QB2. I think one more year of experience will be good for him.
Trevor Lawrence is so weird because he also runs, so I could see him being a bench, and I could also see him being a high QB2. But I'm gonna give him bench for right now. Patrick Mahomes.
No, even with Tyreek gone, he's still got Kelsey. He's got Juju. He's still a QB1 in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely a QB1, maybe just not top 3 like we're used to.
Yeah.
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr is a sneaky one this year. I think he's going to be a QB1. Just the weapons around him. I'm still not very high on Vegas, but just the weapons around him make him a QB1 in my eyes.
Did I lose you?
I lost you. I said Derek Carr is a low QB1.
I said he's going to be in the Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott range for me.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Noah's other big boy had Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert will be a QB1. I think he's top 3 this year.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be up there for sure. Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford for me is going to be a QB2. I don't know why. I think again, I think he'll be in the Derek Carr, Russell Wilson range.
Oh yeah, like you said, just being a QB2 is no disrespect. Like there's a lot of good quarterbacks. The problem with Stafford, he doesn't really run, which takes away a lot of points there in the fantasy wise. So I think he'll be a QB2 as well. I actually agree with you. Tua.
With Tyreek, I could see him being a QB2, but probably closer to the low range.
I'm actually, for some reason, I've always hated Tua, but this year I'm really high on him. I think he could finish as saying really high, I think like quarterback like 14. So mid to high QB2. Kirk Cousins.
I hate Kirk. But he's still a QB2 with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, Kirk's definitely on the lower of the low QB2, but you can't have him outside QB2. He should be starting for you in a two quarterback league. Mac Jones.
He was good last year. I'll give him a high QB2.
I think
the fact he doesn't run.
I think he's a bench. I think he's a bench.
Really?
I don't think in fantasy production, I think there's 20 quarterbacks that can produce more than him. Okay, whatever the Saints are doing.
Jameis?
Jameis, Taysom, whatever
QB2.
one of them.
QB2.
Yeah, he's also on that QB2 bench range for me. It's pretty low QB2. Daniel Jones.
Danny Dimes is the bench.
Danny Dimes is definitely a bench. He's gonna have to show stuff. He does run a little bit, but
True.
Sometimes when he falls,
If he doesn't trip on the 20-yard line, he's all right.
Zach Wilson.
I still think he's benched for me for this year.
Yeah, I actually like Zach Wilson as a player. Just there's no talent around him. I'm also gonna go bench. Now the guy you were talking about before, Jalen Hurts.
He's gonna be a QB1 for me. I'm really high on him this year. So yeah.
Yeah, he just runs so much, which really helps. I think he's also going to be I'm going to say QB7. That's my prediction. Then you got oh my God, what's his name? Trubisky.
Or Kenny Pickett, one of them, but they'll both be benched no matter what.
I think Trubisky, no matter what, will start the season. I think Pickett will finish.
Fair enough.
But you said bench, sorry?
Yep, bench.
Yeah, definitely bench. And then I'm going off just what the website says who's starting, and I also agree with this. Trey Lance.
I'm gonna give him a bench.
You're going bench?
Yep.
I'm
just think
going
there's 20
very
guys.
low.
QB2.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I'm gonna go like QB19. He runs a lot.
Right on the range.
He
Is that
runs.
the last guy?
We got like two more. We'll just quickly because this one's pretty. Drew Lock.
Drew Lock QB bench.
He's definitely a bench. Tom Brady.
QB high QB1, high QB2, low QB1 if he is anything like Tom Brady.
I'm not as high on him.
You can't doubt the man.
No, I'm gonna give him QB13. Like middle QB2.
Okay.
Ryan Tannehill.
A QB2 to bench. He wasn't very good last year. For what he was being drafted at, he wasn't very good.
Yeah, fair enough. He was drafted pretty high. I'm going to give him QB2 as well. And then rounding it out, we have Carson Wentz.
With McLaurin, I think he can be a mid QB2.
You better hope so.
Yeah, true.
So. I think he's a QB2 as well. I can see it. Well, there we go.
I think that'll do it.
Pretty good.
We talked about a lot of sports. But that'll do it for today. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, and we will see you next week.